John McCaig here, JesusChristTrust.net. And hopefully the sound is working. Sometimes there's no sound because, information's too good, something. But hopefully you can hear me and I'll get into what we're going to talk about today. Uh, so thanks for being here. Also, the reason we're meeting here this week is because of donations this week. Thank you to Jay for that donation, and thank you to Jamie for that donation. Thank you very much. And we're going live. If you have any thoughts, questions, interactions, please throw them out there. Um, so we're let's get back into kind of like what we got into last week, which was we were talking about the rapture and clouds and that kind of stuff. And so I think this is important to go into. Um, let's get into this. Here we go. Okay. All right. So what the rapture is this concept that before Judgment Day, there's going to be a 7 year uh, time called, people call it the different things, tribulation, the woes, sorrows. It says time of sorrow in uh, in the New Testament. So the sorrows. Um, and we were talking about before, this concept of rapture. In other words, oh, we got this 7 years of very difficult times coming up. What's going to happen to the people that believe in God? So, a bunch of people, are saying that people are just going to disappear. They're not going to be here. And while I'm not going to come out and say, "Hey, that's not going to happen," that's not going to happen. If it happens, great, But let's look into uh, like the work that I've done, the reason I'm doing it, and the concept here to think about. Okay, so first of all, there's this important part of the Bible that's this part in Mark, uh, and so it says there's a quote here from Bear Baba is called, and it's from Early Messages to the West, and it's a book that is let me get back out here. See, Early Messages to the West, and so page. Oh, let me do this. Let me get the link here. I will put it in the chat. You can read this section. It's taken from this book, page 68 through 70, and it's on that link. It's quoted exactly on this website. So let's go through this thing that Mayor Baba says about the second coming. Now, this is something that Mayor Baba is supposed to have said, and this is from a book edited by Ward Parks, right? And so yeah, Pam, thanks for having me here. I wanted, okay, before I get into this, I get a crazy story. Uh, Thank you for the mail you sent, Pam. Uh, we at the address where you sent that, Pam. Thank you for sending it. Uh, we have locked mailboxes now. We didn't used to have that, but we have these locked mailboxes where all the mail comes now. And so until yesterday, my grandson and his mom were staying there, and they just left. And so I've been over there, visiting and hanging out and all that kind of stuff. Now, someone came by and gave my stepdaughter like, "Hey, here's a piece of mail. It's got your address on it, and it's a note, the note that Pam sent." And they said, "Oh, we found it on the ground. It has your name on it." I was like, "Okay, how's that even possible?" Because we have a great mail woman. She does all the mail and everything like that. She stands in front of the locked boxes, puts them in there. They're all locked again. How could that possibly not be in the mailbox? And then my wife is like, "Oh, let me take that. I'll put it right here, and we'll make sure we give it, to Jack." Okay. Uh, and then she went to get it, and it disappeared. So she's over there looking for it right now. That was yesterday. So it's really impossible plus impossible. So, uh, but he's 4, the little grandson, so he's a busy little dude down there doing every kind of everything. I'm sure that is around, and I'm gonna find it, Pam. So thanks in advance for that, but it's still coming and going from the ether, believe it or not. Just amazing. Yeah, got it. I haven't got it myself yet, but it's definitely being gotten. It's just a crazy, impossible couple of steps before it's actually received. So thank you for that. And my goodness. Uh, so that's being worked on. Hopefully that gets solved here quickly. Anyway, let's get back into that link I sent. And so thank you for that, Pam. I appreciate it. God bless you. Uh, let's get back into this quote from Mayor Baba. Now, Ward Parks is the one who let's maybe I'll put this up there too. Uh, sorry, but this book, Creation and Its Causes, it's really one of the best Baba books. That's crazy. Yeah, the devil is always trying to cause problems. It's with impossible problems. Like, how can that thing not be in the mailbox? Yeah, it's ridiculous, Pam. But thanks for your steadfastness to help and stuff like that. Yeah, and prayers. So in this book, Creation as Causes really has some of the best writing in it, and it's a lot with Ramju Abdullah that is kind of like talked about a lot of hated stuff that was hard to find when I was looking into Baba in the early days. It's all brought back into this book. Now, Ward Parks in this book, he's the editor and stuff. He's talked about it, erased it. He's like, oh, Baba's talk about the universe, just stuff like that. It's all just talk, but it's not really based in the reality of our universe, because we're on a ball, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Ward Parks, I'm just trying to point out is the Baba lovers and the Baba community's chosen top expert to be uh, publishing books and being an editor and stuff like that. It's who they've chosen to be their top editor and put together old Baba's works and stuff like that. But he really is, if you see him speak ever, he makes a joke almost every time he does a video. He's like, we're really supposed to find a perfect master. Are there any perfect masters here in the audience? Any perfect masters?" And everyone's like, "Ha ha ha ha." But point being, he's not one, and point being that somebody should be editing his books that is perfect master, but they refuse that. I've emailed him, "Hey, you're just wrong saying Beer Mama's wrong. Okay, don't say he's wrong. Like, I can explain it to you, no problem." And I never hear back from him. So when we talk about this quote and stuff from this book that we're about to get into about you know the rapture and stuff like that, just know that it's taken from this editor, that put together this information, and we don't have the original information and stuff like that. So Ward Parks is not the best editor, shall we say. He's there. He's the editor they chose, and we have to live with. So, but let's read this. All right, the second coming, Bear Baba. The question is, and so what it is here is in this book is in this section of the book is a series of questions in this book. And this question is, will Sri Bear Baba explain Christ's words concerning the quote second coming from Mark 28, 21 through 27? And then if any man, and I'm going to read it, it goes on, and then if any man shall say to you, lo, here's Christ, or lo, he is there, believe him not. And then it's dot, dot, dot. But in those days after the tribulation, then shall they see, after the tribulation, then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. Okay. Uttermost. What the heck is uttermost? Uttermost meaning, and it's adjective, most remote or farthest or outermost. Okay, so we've got that information. Uh, so that's what uttermost means. Here we go. Keep reading. The gathering of the elect refers to the reincarnation and final assembly of his closest disciples and followers at the time of his second coming. It is wrong to associate the second coming with the imprisonment of a devil and 1,000 years peace, or with a literal interpretation of the last day of judgment. All the great mystics have understood the word clouds as a symbolic expression for states of consciousness or spiritual planes. When the Christ descends from the infinite, i.e., the seventh plane, he brings with him to earth the infinite goodness, wisdom, power, and love, and all the power, signs, and experience of the six lower planes. In the words of a great Sufi saint, behold the sky and clouds and the world. First is God, sky, then the planes, clouds, and the world, and last is earth. But all three are linked. So sky is God, right? The sky being the ocean, right? This passive firmament, that's God. Then the clouds is the planes, and the last is earth. All right. We read it in Mark, Mark 5, 2-7, that the transfiguration of Jesus occurred when he ascended into a mountain. And there was a cloud, quote, and there was a cloud that overshadowed them. And a voice came out of the cloud saying, this is my beloved son, hear him. Brother Leo relates of the vision of St. Francis in Mount Alvernia that he, quote, saw coming down from heaven a torch of flame exceeding beautiful and light, which descending rested on the head of St. Francis, and out of the flame there came a voice. St. Francis explains to Brother Leo, then was I in a light of contemplation, in which I saw the abyss of the infinite goodness and wisdom and power of God. And in the flame that thou sawest was God, who also spake in such a manner unto me, even as in old time he has spoken unto Moses. On Mount Sinai, God appeared in a thick cloud and with fire. Therefore, we see that clouds, the house of clouds, Mansville, is a symbolic expression mystics among mystics for the six planes. Okay, what is that saying? All right, it's a really important. What it's saying is, well, let's go into the Rolling Stones too. Hey, you, get off of my cloud, right? He is talking about, hey, get off my cloud. Like I'm having my own contemplation here. Get out of my thoughts, right? Clouds and thoughts are linked. When you see comics, right? They're always thinking into a cloud, right? Their thoughts or words are from a cloud near them. You see? So you can see that clouds are really about thinking and thoughts and so on, right? Plus, what are clouds really? Clouds is what Miramallah says is the first incarnation of anything physical. And then we have to go through all the physical forms here to ultimately get to human form. So, uh, oh, Alan's here too. I thought that was Pam. Yeah, Alan. Yeah, no, the devil is always causing problems. Uh, anyway, so clouds is really, when you look into our world, clouds are supposed to be, oh, that's just holding rain. Well, it's really kind of confusing on how a cloud could hold rain because water's heavy, isn't it? Water's heavy. Water is not lighter than air, right? If you have oh, look, I have water in a glass, right? It should be floating away, right? It should be floating away because clouds are full of water. So this should just go up in the air, right? But it doesn't, right? Water's heavy, 8.4 pounds per gallon. So water's heavy. So it really kind of clouds, as were explained, uh, they don't make any sense whatsoever, right? Because water's heavy. Oh, here come the clouds, and now you're gonna get rain. Like, and you could definitely, you take a airplane, a jet, or whatever. You're flying, you go above the clouds, and it's like, oh, it's not raining up here; it's raining down there. So it's really absolutely clouds are a miracle. They're miracle based. Like, how could they hold something that's heavier than air, and yet they're lighter than air? It doesn't, it's more like, you know, uh, get a rabbit out of a hat, right? Like pop a rabbit out of the ether, where all the things come from, most everything. Like, oh, did you know China has 90 car companies and they each have like 10 new vehicles? It's like, wait, they just made 1,000 new vehicles, uh, and different models, all these car companies and stuff like that. Wait, what? And just in the last few years, how's that? Wait a second. How's that possible? They popped out of the ether. That's how it's possible. Uh, so we're forced, the magicians are the ones who are kind of getting in trouble on the fourth plane, doing all these miracles. Oh, look what I can do. Nothing really helpful to their brothers and sisters, like, oh, is this your card? Oh, look, I made two fruit into one fruit. Oh, look, I made your coffee disappear and now it's over here. Like all this stupid little stuff they do with magic, right? Which is just mainly there to show us there's an invisible realm and there's a visible realm. They both exist. And so that's what we're talking about here, isn't it? That's what we're talking about when we were talking in that quote we just read. Uh, we're talking about, uh, let's see, the word clouds. Okay, the gathering of elect. Yeah. So what happens when this whole cloud thing comes, right? Well, clouds are meant to be like, oh, thoughts and information from God, right? God's coming. Okay. Well, that's my work, right? Is to bring you the truth, and then the pilgrimage was about, well, let me bring you to this location that God decided. If you go there, you could be judged here on earth, and you could have your individual meeting with God. You get your judgment ahead of time, right? bring yourself up to speed with your spiritual plane and where you are now. Uh, and that's all right, Jay. Welcome. Good to have you. So, what are we doing before Judgment Day? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to have an experience with God, right? The clouds and so on. What the Bible is saying is, hey, if you're with me, if you're with God, right? If you're with Jesus Christ, or you're with Bear Baba, right? If you're with God, you're going to have before Judgment Day, right? You're going to have this individual interaction with God, and it's direct. Is he's God's going to come to the clouds. God's going to come to you individually and give you an individual experience, right? Uh, People at the on the pilgrimage, when you witness me like having a moment of rapture, little literal rapture, just laughing my head off, cackling like a maniac because I went to that too. Bear Baba, I'm in the bliss with God. That's what God decided to do. And when someone else who was there, had their individual experience at the tomb, and they're kind of having the experience, having an emotional experience with God, and other people are witnessing it. You see, those kind of things really have only happened to me in a great way. They've happened when I haven't been around people, but they've also happened at the tube in front of a whole bunch of people so that they can realize, oh, other people have forced to realize, oh, he's having an experience and we're not able to witness and see exactly what that is because it's hidden from us. In other words, I'm having an individual experience. Oh, I can see that you are, from outside. Look, you're just over there laughing, or someone else is. Uh, but that's really when God comes out of the clouds. God comes to you directly before Judgment Day. You're judged at a time. In other words, you're how you live in this life, and you're performing your actions, and you're doing the best thing that you can with God, right? And during that process, Mayor Baba takes the time to explain all seven planes and exactly what that means and all that process, right? So that's what's happening before Judgment Day. God is, to his chosen was the ones that have chosen him, and God chooses like this mutual uh, choosing, right? I choose to work for you. I'm with you, God. I give up everything in the trust. I sign it over to you, including me. I send everything back to you. Now I work for you. Okay. So God's like, oh, okay, great. And now let me, ultimately you'll have these experiences of being with God. So that's what it means when, clouds having these thoughts with God and so on. That's what you have ahead of time, before pre-tribulation and so on, is you have an experience of God. You individually have an experience of meeting with God, of experiencing God as real. God gives you that experience to the ones that love God, that live for God, that perform their actions for God, that follow the two commandments, love God above everything else, and then love your brothers and sisters, right? That's what it is. And so if you do these things, set up in the script, in the scripture, set up in the rule book, in the playbook for this life, this 64-year time loop, then you'll have an interaction with God. That's going to happen. Especially I reached the seventh plane. Anyone follow it, oh, that guy reached the seventh plane. Hey, let me listen to what he says, right? That's go find a perfect master and listen to what they say. If you've done that, well, most everyone that come to India with me had an individualized, very heavy interaction in the plays with God. They had that, you know. Uh, so that's why they come to have this experience. But this quote is about that. Hey, if you because belief and faith and hope, that's cool and all, but those inherently be you don't know. And so having an individual uh, interaction with God, you and God, and God comes to you, that's really because you leave the state of being a believer, a hoper, someone with faith. right? To someone that knows. Oh, I had an experience with God and now I know. Same with really meeting with the shadow of God. Once you meet with the devil, you're like, whoa, this whole thing's real, you know? And so you have to make the choice of not to choose the devil, but then you can be like, oh, you're real. So that must be this whole other part of the script is real too. Wow. Oh, okay. So, and really, I'm careful to say until you really, really have there are different levels to meeting with God, all seven levels, right? Uh, but before you reach the end of meeting, the seventh plane, you will experience just like, oh, I want to meet with God, an individualized form of God that is in one form, like in form of Jesus Christ, where you're going to have to be with God's shadow before meeting with God. Like you're going to have see that the devil is real, before reaching the end of the process of meeting with God, right? Oh, you have to get through the shadow to get to God. So, uh, I think that what people have experienced with signing the trust and stuff like that is they can see, oh, other people are having these difficulties. I might have them too. I might die. I might have some great accident. I might this or that, right? But the thing is, people that sign the trust, most every time those great tribulations that you could have individually are forestalled, are stopped, or you experience it and then you're like, God steps in and saves you, right? Oh, let me save your life. You call my name and now you're not going to die, right? Oh, you're having this great problem right now. Oh, you're trying to fly in this airplane, trying to go there, and there's this giant problem. Pray to God and God will step in and help, right? That's when, uh, there'll be a trumpet call from the angels. Well, God sends a messenger, someone to help, someone in a form to help, or a non-form, but non-physical, but an individualized individual, whether they have physical form or not, is going to be sent from God to give you that experience of God is real. Oh, I'm going to send the angels, like for the, an archangel. Yeah. Well, that's who works for God, the archangel. So, you might be having this experience. Well, an angel was sent to give you that experience. If something's happened that's miraculous, God chose it to happen based on your actions. So, uh, I don't see that I haven't been I've had to go through all the experiences I've had to go through, go to court, had all these near death experiences, have the cops want to murder me, all this stuff, all these things where I should have died, definitely been in jail, all this other crazy stuff should have happened to me and by everyone else's reckoning, you know. But nothing happened, So God keeps stepping in and saving me because I'm doing my best to help others, bring them the truth, bring them useful information. Obviously, I'm a perfect master, so God chooses me to have that role, and then God watches over me, and God watches over those people that listen to me. You see, but at no time have I been like, uh oh, we got all this stuff coming down the road for you. Why don't you just disappear for a while and come with us? And that's cool. That hasn't happened to me. Like I haven't disappeared. Like the events and so on happened, but God steps in to help me. Of course, I'm with you. I'm praying. I'm doing my part. I give everything to God in trust. I'm trying to be in the moment, existing in the moment, and to be there with whatever is happening in that moment. I do my best to do that. Uh, so I can have that experience that day, taking, information from my past, but also knowing I'm with the Holy Spirit, whatever is going to come along, right? The Archangel Gabriel will step in and give me information or help in some way, whatever God decides. So I don't see that the individuals that love God are necessarily not going to be here for the difficulties coming up. I'm not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. If you want to make us disappear and have this last horrible 7 years happen, uh, just for certain individuals, but I don't think that that part is actually going to happen, because that would be like saying, "Hey, the game, we're shortening it for some people, but the game is 64 years." So I don't see, because it's like you could read it one way, "Oh, hey, I've been with you the whole time or long enough, and now I'm with you. Here's the day. Here's a rapture day. Am I going to disappear?" And then there's just 7 years of horribleness for the rest of you, which you all could then choose to turn to God and like forestall God's judgment in a bad way and make God's judgment in a good way. Okay, if that's always the game, okay, okay. Maybe so, maybe so. Nothing wrong with that. But isn't it possible that someone may have some difficulties in those last 7 years that loves God, that would have them turn away from God? You see what I'm saying? Uh, maybe, oh, uh, hey, I didn't disappear on Rapture Day. No one else did either. That was supposed to happen, you know? Screw God. I'm not with God. What? I thought I was going to get 7 years off. This is no good. There must be no God. Couldn't someone think that? Is that possible? And many other things, where the last 7 years are like, well, I don't know about this whole God thing. I think I'm gonna just skip all that, and you see. So I just think, oh, well, we're gonna be out for some of the game. Like, uh, I don't know about that. I'm okay with taking a break from the game. Like, oh, it did enough. Okay, cool. Let me take a break, and I don't have to play out the most difficult years. I'm not against that. Okay, I'm like, yeah, okay, go for it. Thank you. But you know, isn't that sort of saying, okay, you don't have to play part of the game? I Man, why would God make a game where some individuals don't have to play part of it? That's the only thing that kind of logically uh, makes me wonder about that. Because even here are all these plagues and all these difficulties coming with the tribulations, the sorrows, the woes, and stuff like that. But see, if you sign the trust or you're really with God anyway, those things aren't going to directly happen to you individually directly. It'll be happening all around you and stuff. So wouldn't it be more uh, of a situation to cause an impact that these things aren't happening to certain individuals, rather than, oh, there's a rapture moment as some people disappear in some part of the population. My guess is going to be a very small part of the population that would disappear anyway with God. And so, couldn't the government be like, hey, that whole disappears thing was a hoax. Not many people disappeared. No one disappeared. That this is what actually happened. Wouldn't they have something they could say about that? Because I don't think that there are many servants of God. I just don't see it. So it's not going to be that many people disappearing at all, if that were to happen. And so it could sort of be a uh, event, because everything that happens now in mass media and the news and social media and all that stuff, it's all fake and it doesn't happen. So couldn't they turn around and be like, well, that thing that's supposed to happen, that was fake news? So, wouldn't it be more of an impact to have the individuals that are with God every day, nothing's happening to them here, and every day more difficulties happen to you all? You see what I'm saying? During the tribulations, like, instead of just one day event, that maybe did or didn't happen, uh, wouldn't it be ongoing? Well, everybody gets a plague, but these certain people did it, and they're with God. And you see, so I just think it's not like one thing that's gonna bring people to God that aren't with God, because they've gone this far and they're not with it. They don't like the truth. They're like, nope. So almost no one wants God. So that's why, I try to tell people the truth. Very few people interested. I'm like, okay, you can't love God. You can't know the truth. Be like, wow, I love God. Wow, this all makes sense. Now I understand God. Yeah, the people here are going for that. Yeah, listening to this information, good for you. But the rest of the population, they're just like, man, get out of my face. I don't want to hear about any of that. And so it's like, okay, so you can't just love God and hear the truth. You can't do that. They can't, almost every individual alive can't do that. Okay. So you can't just directly love God based on the truth. Okay. So then maybe you need to fear God. You see what I'm saying? Like they can't just love God. They just can't. So God has to do all this stuff. So, okay, maybe you fear and respect God then. How about we'll go for that instead? So I just think that it's something that yes, God created humans and understands their human nature and is playing this game based on human nature, knowing human nature, created people, and says, oh, hey, you know what? They're not going to come to God unless I freak them out and cause just worldwide havoc, which explains God is real. Unless God actually follows through with all the tribulations and woes and like all that stuff. And some people are fine and almost everybody else isn't, right? Who's the one that's got eternal life and everybody's fine? Uh, I think that's more of a question that hits like has a bigger impact to the hive, especially because they know everything. Uh, they know what's happening. And so I'm fine either way, however God wants to play the game, like, oh, you want some certain people to disappear? That would be pretty soon, like less than 2.5 years, somewhere around 2.5 years. Oh, so we don't have to play out the last messiest 7 years? Great. But I just don't see that happening because based on my experience and everyone's experience that has, already experienced God, well, this is the way it goes, right? You work for God, you have a difficult time, you stick with God, take a pilgrimage with for God eventually, and oh, I have an interaction with God. So that's a common, you know, way to get to God. I've done it, others have done it. It's possible to do that. And so why wouldn't that continue? Oh, it's like, well, we're going to play the game this way, but, you know, 7 years before then, now we're playing the game this way. Uh, it's a big change up. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm saying I'm not going to plan for it, nothing like that. I'm just going to plan for business as usual, which is God gives you an individualized experience when you're worthy. If you come to God, if you do all the steps, I'm perfect master. Oh, you signed a trust, you listen to me, da da da. You'll have this individual experience with God, like Jesus will come to you through the clouds, right? People have had that experience. I have had that experience. That seems to be what this information is pointing to. It's very rare, then it becomes less rare, then we get closer to the end, and it's like, oh, wow, I just had an experience with Jesus Christ, wow, it was amazing. He's real, da da da. That's, I think, what people begin to have that experience. And then the devil starts showing up for the other people, like, hey, glad you're with me. Uh, coming to the devil, see in hell and stuff. Here's your new house, and here's your new everything. Here's your new car. Here's your pile of money. Here's everything you ever wanted. And so you come to me, the devil. Uh, so those are our two options. Kind of like go with God or go with the devil. There's really not going to be another choice. And so I just kind of, you know, even if there's a rapture moment, is there anything to change in preparation for that? I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Because we should be signing the trust. Everything's with God. There you go. Now I'm studying the truth. Oh, wow, how did this guy find the trust? How's he alive? Look at all the stuff he's done. whoa, he's got this other information about God. Okay. And then a few people like, oh, we're going to a pilgrimage. Let me see if I see God. And almost everyone did had an individualized experience with God. And if they didn't have that, they had a whole lot of individual experience with me and with the world that they thought maybe was real, maybe wasn't real. And now they really see the unseen realm as, a part of life. And they see it happen to others and myself and so on. So, from following God, from being with God, from living the truth, from following the truth. So, uh, that's the way I see the tribulation and the rapture and so on. I think that is a concept that plays out every single day. Oh, this difficulty could happen to you, but you're side with God, you're with God, so God can step in and save you today and will today, tomorrow, every day. You're always with God. So it's more about an explanation of our life, you know, because, in the Bible, it doesn't talk much about the time loop. God shortened the days. That's not telling us much about the time loop, right? Some prophet has to step in and say, well, this is actually what's happening. Look around you. That's what I done. And God gave me the information. Oh, now you got a responsibility. Speak up about it. Tell people. Everyone doesn't want to hear. No, but some people do. So tell them. Okay, I'll do that. So that's what's going on. So I don't see a big change in how we're supposed to interact with God and be with God and stuff like that. I don't see that. Uh, I see as miracles as usual. God as usual. Uh, Everyone, oh, that can't be real. I don't know about God. Like business as usual. It's gonna, God's gonna do a lot of difficult, miraculous behavior that there are no atheists in foxholes, right? So, oh, let's make your life difficult. Maybe you're going to start praying to God. Like that's what I see. God created us a certain way, created humans, this world, everything like that, understands it, and understands by the nature of people having so much ego and ability and all this other stuff, going to have to really make a lot of difficult situations for people until people go, "Oh, this is too much for me. Hey, if there's a God, I need help." And God's like, "Oh, I had to do that to you because otherwise you wouldn't call that to God." So I think it's an understanding of human nature that God makes this game this difficult because hey, here's the truth. Hey, everybody wants to be with God. Go on pilgrimage. Here we go, and everyone's with God. Okay, look, I saved everyone that wanted to be saved. That's not it. That's not the end of. It's the end of for those people, but they still have to live. They still see enough truth. They're not going to back out of the God deal. They're like, whoa, yeah. They're like, man, I got to write this down. I got to think about that. I got to process this. But it's a lot that happened to people that went on pilgrimage and before that in preparation for even a desire to go on pilgrimage to meet with God. It's a lot. But I see that this is always going to be a difficult game. Oh, God's not real. You can't see him. Oh, what? You can't. Who made that tree over there? Right? Who made that dome over your head? You can't see God's handiwork? How can you not see it? Oh, well, I'm a coincidence theorist. Oh, well, what? How could everything happen so perfectly by coincidence? What are you talking about? There's only one place that is here, but there's no God. Wait, what? Uh, How? Wait, what you're saying is illogical. You believe that everyone around you. Okay, well, they don't believe in God; they believe in the devil. So, anyway, in case I forgot to say this ahead of time, Jay and Jamie, thank you for the donations. That's why we're here this week. And Pam, thank you for what you said. I'm still searching for it. I just want to say that. Thank you very much. Oh, and come tomorrow. Oh, today's Sunday, the 14th. Tomorrow is supposed to be two new courses up. uh, tomorrow on JesusChristTrust.net. 2 new courses. One, free home. The information on how to get a free home, to work and get the videotape or getting a free home without any risk to anyone doing it. Zero risk. Risk free, 100% risk free, name free. You're not going to use your name, your trust, nothing. You just use the name of God. That's one course just going up. And number two, uh, second course is eternal life. Eternal life, how to not die, right? And all the meaning of that. So those will be up tomorrow. Uh, if you want to donate, I appreciate the donation. And if you want to work on those things, you know, in the classroom, uh, then I'm there for it, in a classroom with JesusChristTrust.net, or if you're on Liberty Aid Academy, whatever. And I got a lot going up on Liberty Aid Academy tomorrow. Huge sale, 5 new courses. That's a giant thing. Probably heard all about it. But yeah, Jay and Jamie, thank you for the donations. That's why we're here this week. And Pam, probably sort out that letter, and you'll probably be here. The reason I'm here next week. So, but we got these 2 courses up going up tomorrow. Maybe somebody can donate to that. I'll be here next Sunday and help out everyone next Sunday. Uh, I kind of wanted to let's look at my notes here. Uh, oh, it's funny. When I was on pilgrimage, like your life's supposed to get fixed where you're on pilgrimage, and these things are supposed to change in your life that God is going to handle while you're away. And my wife's health was, you know, near death experience again, and she's supposed to have, like, imminently you have to have your uterus removed, and you're having this problems and all this and on, you know, and just so many physical health near death experience issues with her while I'm in India, to the point where I almost came back a couple times. But she resells on uh, eBay, and she had found at an auction, uh, not on eBay, but another auction, this original painting of Mir Baba by what's her name? Oh, I can't think of her name, but it's a beautiful painting, and it's this individual artist who draws a lot of Baba stuff, who has a house, if she's still alive, uh, at the Bear Baba Center in North Myrtle Beach. She has a house on the property. You didn't know anyone lived there, did you? Yeah, this one lady lives there in a house. I've been there. I visited over there. I can't remember her name right now, but she's a great painter. And Baba had her move from Woodstock, New York, with her children to the Baba Center, and then he took off for India and didn't come back. And so she got a house at the Baba Center where she's lived in since then. Since basically the start of the time loop, she's been in that place on the Baba Center painting Mir Baba. So my wife gets this painting, and every day she's praying to God and staring at this painting, and she's healed. And she's like, no, not Diane, not Diane LePage. No, no, no. Okay, I'm gonna have to think of her name. That no, she's uh, no. There's one individual. What is her name? I can't think of her name. Anyway, but it's an original piece of art, and while I'm in India, she has this artwork right next to her, this giant painting, and she's praying to it, and she gets healed. She's completely healed. And she's like, I know it's not the painting, I know it's God, but now I don't want to sell the painting. Like, she got the painting for a couple $100 on an auction. It's really worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So she hasn't sold it yet. So, because she's had this experience. Uh, but she understands it's not a painting that does it, it's God that does it. So That's what I'm trying to say. I'm bringing this up as an example to be like, well, why is that going to change? You know what I'm saying? We have an individualized experience. Pray to God. We're coming to God. You know, uh, she wants to be healed by God. She signed a trust. Everything is God. And so she's miraculously healed. This has happened to other people. I'm bringing up this one example. So I'm saying, why is that going to change? You know, why is it going to be like during this time we live a life and we have to come to God and we have to pray to God and we get an individualized healing or many of them and we do it this way, but then okay, then there's a rapture, tribulation, the whole game kind of changes. I don't, God's not like that. God's fair. And so it's going to be, you know, it's going to happen the same way for everyone. You know, you're going to have to go against the flow. You have to go against society. You're going to have to be like, man, now that's fake. You know, all that God stuff's no good, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has to experience, like, why is one individual going to have to go, like me, I'm going to have to fight all of society and my whole family and everything like that. And I come to God and got the truth, and God saves me, and I can help people, and I'm a saint, blah, blah, blah. Why is someone else going to have an easier road than me? That's not God. You know, God, the ones that love God have such a difficult time. I mean, ask Didi, you know, like, but they know, oh, I'm doing this to get rid of my past karma. So ultimately, I don't want to do this again. I'm coming to you, God, you know? And so each of those difficulties, God is even more revealed every single time, you know? Here comes the difficulty, and then here comes the miracle from God. It's like, that's life with God, you know? Is, hey, I'm going to make your life more difficult. You're going to pray to me. I'm going to solve the problem. We're going to get to the other side. That's really the way life is with God. And so, you know, yeah, God's going to make more difficulties and they're going to be harder for the whole human population. It's going to get worse at the end because God knows no atheists or foxholes. I'll give you a difficulty. Maybe you pray to God. So I think that's the story of our life, isn't it? That's really how you live this human life. It's hard. It's not easy. You find the truth, and then you're settled in God, and this is the way you live your life. So, uh, you see how everything's got to make sense, and the game is played the same way all the time. That's the way I see things. You see, if we get, oh, hey, seventh inning stretch, everybody with me, you don't have to play the last two innings. 7 years, you're with me. I'm not against that. Okay, great. But I just don't see that as happening and matching our experience up to this point. That's what I'm saying. And so stick with what works, which would keeps you with God, keeps you with life, keeps you breathing, keeps you getting over every hurdle that God throws your way. I would say, why have a big change up and think you're going to get some time off early? Oh, yeah, time off early is Judgment Day's coming. It's not an endless line of time, and we're in a loop. That's, stunning enough, right? Why do we have to have this rapture event too? You see what I'm saying? Uh, Dee I gave my life to God, and it's been disasters and miracles ever since. That's what I'm saying. It's like miracle, kaboom, miracle, kaboom, miracle. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. I love it. Before everyone used to run all over me. That's what I'm saying. It looks like you're gonna get run over again. It's like it's like, oh yeah, I'll just walk by. You know, that's what our life is. You see, for those who love God and have been around here doing it year after year now, that's our reality. You see, and I see that this quote in the Bible is just saying, "Don't worry, I'm going to come have a visit with you." You know, I'm going to come to you in the clouds. I'm going to come to you in your mind. We're going to have an individual experience, and then we're going to keep it up that way. You see, that's it. That matches my reality. That matches Dee Dee's reality, and that matches other people's reality here too. You see, so why is that going to change? Well, it's going to change and get more difficult because we can take it, right? Whatever the disasters are, we're not leaving God, but they need more disasters because they're not with God. That's what's coming up. You see? We're just early. We're the smart ones, right? We're the early adopters of truth and God. That's all. No one wants anything to do with me, right, TD? Same, same. Very few, very few. Hi. They're like, oh, beta biome. Okay. Whoo. I'm sure you get a lot of that too, Dee. Uh, Jamie has been, working with the trust and so on. Oh, worked in Canada now. She's in Germany. She can't believe all this stuff that's happening. That's our experience of being with God. It's this constant, near disaster miracle, near disaster miracle. Like ow, ow. So I think that's what it's saying, is coming into clouds, and then hey, we're gonna get some bad times coming up, and so even for you people that just have good times, I'm gonna give you some bad times because you need them to come to God. So that's what I see in the Bible and so on, and that information is in there like that. That's what I think is saying. That's our reality. It's going to keep happening, but I'm going to make it worse so I can bring more people to God. You see, God has a difficult plan at the end, and those difficulties, if you come to God, miracle, yay, oh wow, I'm with you now, God. So more people to come to God that way. Very good. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm going to change that tune when I'm back on top. Back on top in June. Right? Come back to life. You're like, ah. Oh, man. Yeah. She don't say much, but when she does, she's got a lot to say in a short amount to say. Oh, Reagan always hit the nail on the head, let me tell you. Yeah. No, but that's the thing, it's gotta be this roller coaster. It's like, "Ah, I'm gonna die. Whoop. Wait, I didn't die at all. Everything's fine." Over what? What? You know? That's the reality of the situation we're in, you see? So, I don't see, that that's not gonna, "Oh, hey, guess what? Whole new game." Nah, no. Gee, our Christmas list is short, says funny. See, humor comes along, and you start seeing people doing other things. You walk by, you're like, I remember when I used to do something like that. Like I don't do that anymore. It's like you used to do a lot of whole dumb stuff until you found God, and then now you do a bunch of smart stuff. But the world has a reaction, like you're getting ejected from the egg. Time to leave the egg, chickens. Quack, Humpty Dumpty, you're out of here. You don't come back. But no, yeah, Dee Dee, right? Reagan's quietly sitting there, and then he'll have these words, and he'd be like, "Oh man, she's so right again." Ah. Yeah, Reagan hits the nail on the head every time, really. So you see, that's kind of our reality. I don't think there's going to be a big shift. I think the big shift is now I'm for God. I'm trusting everything to God. I'm going to come over this hurdle. And then there'll be more situations that come up and I'll get through them. And now I'm just serving God and I'm watching over my brothers and sisters when I'm near them. Hey, you might want to do this. And it's like, well, sometimes that takes, and most of the time it doesn't. So most of the time we're doing us. Are just coming to God. We're sticking with God. I don't see that changing in a remarkable way. If we get opted out 7 years early, thank God. But I wouldn't make preparations based on that. I'm not. I'm not allowed to buy candles anymore. Talk about a good sense of humor, right? Come on, that's good, Dee. No, it's really true. You really got to watch every little action that you do. You're more careful about it, but you don't waste a whole lot of actions on a lot of stuff that doesn't matter anymore. You're just doing the stuff that matters. And your life moves forward. It gets better, a little better every day because You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I'm not going to do, oops, I used to maybe want to do that, but I'm not going to do that anymore. Exactly. Maybe I won't buy candles, etc. Right? Yes. All right, everyone. So I really wanted to demystify, remove the clouds from around that issue, and saying and now look at me and my work, right? I'm always focused on the trust, put everything, give everything back to God, and here's the truth. Now you got to live for God. I'm not going to be changing that. And, now let's do a pilgrimage and let me get you to God. Let me remove me and get you straight to God. That's the only work of a perfect master, of an avatar or anything. Avatar prays to God. I pray to God all the time. Saints pray to God. How do they get there? By God. You know, that's the only way we're getting anywhere doing anything. It's not me. I don't say, "Hey, pray to me, everybody." I don't what? No. Pray to God. God's the only one that can help you. I can help you with the information, tell you what I found out and so on, but it's God's decision who, if you stare at a painting and you're thinking about God all the time, it's not the painting, it's God that helps you. You see? Oh, I got this other situation. I got, on and on and on and on with the situations we're given. Pray to God, ask for God's help with all your heart, love God with all your heart, and do your best every day with your actions. How's that going to change? You see, we did all this work to get up to here. And so you're saying, wait, everyone else is going to have a different game to play? No, no, it's always going to be the same game. God is fair. You see, it's going to be this game. That's the way it's going to be. Like Greg has said, everything's great, then it's not so great, then it's getting better, then, tribulations, got over the hurdle, right? God's like, let me set up this hurdle right here. And you better cry to me, call out to me, you're not going to, yeah, jump. Okay, God, let me push over. You made it over the hurdle. Okay. That's our situation. Just as Jeannie and Reagan explained it, that's our situation. You see, how's that going to change? That would be, it's going to be easier. Oh, no. Now it's going to be different. No. Why we got to be like, oh, and the game's this way, but then it turns into this, and then I'm this, and then, no. Too confusing, too difficult. God's straight ahead. Love God. Love your brothers and sisters. That's it. That's it. And let me set up some hurdles and you'll overcome them. That's what we need to do every day. That's our life. Y'all are doing great at it. I'm doing my best. We don't have anything but our best. We do our best. We make it over the next hurdle, and then eventually we make it over all the hurdles. And like, where's that hug, God? Get in here for real. Ugh, I'm home. That's where we're headed, back home to God. And you'll have an individualized experience or experiences on your way to give you that hope in your heart, that love from God, that experience of meeting with God, Sat Chidananda, the the power, the bliss, and the knowledge on your way, the way you earn it. Oh, I had this experience. I'm gonna keep going. That's where we are. That's where we find ourselves. Y'all are doing great. It's not easy. Every day more alone, more individualized, except for these few homies, these few other like-minded people that love God, that want the truth and love God. So few of us. So I think that there's so few. So few. Anyway, until next week, thank you for the support. I really mean it. I'll be here next week. And we'll talk about this again, because this whole rapture anxiety, God is coming, it's real, right? It's real. So we're gonna air it out a little bit and get to the other side of it and focus on what we can do. Okay. All right, people. Think of all the experiences you've been individually given, from God, and think of the ones you chose. Oh, this guy has found God. Let me listen to what he has to say. Y'all made those choices, and so you're coming to God. So good for you. And you're going to make it the rest of the way, because I'm going to pray for you, and as I always do, pray for everyone coming to God in the name of Jesus Christ. Right? All right, everyone. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. I couldn't be here without your support. I couldn't. I couldn't do this work without your support. So thank you very much. And God watch over you, your family, your loved ones, your life. Okay. Until we meet again. I'll be on Liberty Aid Academy tomorrow at noon, but I'll be back here next week, Sunday at noon, and we'll be talking again. Okay. Uh, look for those courses tomorrow. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful week. God loves you. Big revelations this year. Yeah. Revolving door. That's true, Jay. Thanks for the support, Jay. All right. God loves you.